on yesterday. Let's just review that real quick. Before we get to our slides today, I want to go to a live market, but let's go to a roadmap here. All right, the first thing we want to look at, one of our primary trades we did yesterday was on silver, and you've heard me talk about silver. You can see silver's making new lifetime highs today. And, I told you I thought silver would make it to 75 this year. I don't know if anybody heard me say that, but it's on track, doing pretty good at 60, at 67.28 right now on futures. And I'm talking about futures, obviously, right? Okay. But there's more to go here. And it's just pretty good. Peg writes, got involved with so many people, started focusing on what T-Buzz does, and my accounts turned around. I've heard that story a lot, Peg. Yep, I hear that story a lot. It works. What we do is it works. We work at it, but it works. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's that. And Jonathan, update me on the four trades, where we stand now on the four we did during the marathon.
So that SLV call spread, which was the January 23rd, 60.63, should be taking profit on that right as we speak. Taking profit right as we speak.
Book it, baby. Book it.
Yeah, great trade. And I'm also telling live trading with T-Buzz, they have a kind of slight variation on it. We're going to book it over there too.
Book it again. 2 books.
So I'm not sure everybody was filled on General Motors, but Mark got filled at 6 cents. There you go. Another one booked at 6 cents.
All right, so that's 3 out of the 4 marathon trades. And we had a QQQ that went off early this morning, didn't we?
Yeah, that was the third one. The QQQ was the third one. We just have the long call on SLV left.
We got the home run shot.
The home run shot. We've paid for our home run shot is another way to think about it.
Folks, what do you think? What did I tell you yesterday? Take these trades and we'll pay for your Christmas. And we did. That was my goal when I did that. There's a lot of work we did yesterday. I tell you, a lot of work. If you're trading without the roadmap, if you're trading without what we put together, then slap yourself upside the head, because I'm laying it out there for you to make some money. Right, Jennifer? Yep, it's winner chicken dinner. I'm telling you, folks, follow what we do. And now, let me ask the question. I want you to say yes or no to these questions that I'm asked, okay? And how many people hear me talking about moving average? Yes or no? Never talk about it, do it. The majority of Wall Street talks about moving average. I don't. Okay. How many people hear me talk about the opening of a ticker versus the close? Always the opening. Always the opening. Every day. How many people have a pivot number to decide whether to be long or short during the day? Folks, if you listen to me, we'll have a 2026. And I don't know if you heard me or not, but I also am going to include 10 what I call proprietary trades that you can do each day, not day trades, starting about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I worked on it with Roger Sessions, my doctor from Texas, and he is smiling from ear to ear because all of us paying. You got to learn that stuff. Anybody comes one-on-one, I'm going to teach it to him because it's pretty intense to get it built out. Now, let's go to TNT. Let's just see. This is the program that let's go to how I started my day. Let's see what I was thinking this morning at 5 o'clock. Telegram, please. All right, what's the first thing I do? Every morning I put an overview. In the morning, if you look at the dashboard, I posted the dashboard this morning, you got crude going down, bonds going down, you got AGQ going up. What's AGQ? Is that silver? It is, isn't it? And if you look closer, I don't know if the NASDAQ was green early in the morning, okay? Pretty good. Carol says she's made over 12,000 listening to me. Way to go. This morning, she said, okay? She's playing big. Anyway, we start off, I give you the overview. What's the next thing I do? Here is where the Easter basket is, okay? The next thing I do in TNT. What did I say? Let's just see what I said. I said buy SLV at 60.11. Where's SLV right now? Somebody tell me where it is. SLV. I'd say that's a pretty good call. What did I say next? I said NVIDIA was a buy above 177.55 today. Where's NVIDIA right now? Where's NVIDIA? I said buy it at 75. And by the way, you could do options on this. We're in the market of it, but 179.33. I said buy PAAS if it goes above 51. Where's PAAS? I'd say that's good. Been up to 53. It's up $1. I said buy the QQQ if it got above 16, 615.11. Where's the QQQ? Been up to 1677, I think. I think those are good. On the SPY, I said don't buy it unless it goes above 680.55. The SPY right now is 679.95. That's a trade this afternoon if it goes up. Now, how many people would pay a couple $1,000s a week to have that kind of advice every day? Just tell me. Who would pay a couple $1,000s a week for me to put you in to where the money's being made each day? Just talk about it. All I do is just tell you where the money's being made each day. How much is that worth? About $2,000 a week? Would you say? I think that's cheap, but what do you think? What do you think, Jim? Carol, what do y'all think? You think that's worth $2,000 a week to get that? Yep, it is. Because I'm gonna just keep going. What else did I do? I had some other stuff I did. What's the next thing I did? I had a pivot number. What was my pivot number? $69.45. So if we're above that, we probably ought to be long, right? We're 69.83. 69.83. I got you on the right side of the market also. If you didn't want to take my picks, you knew 75% of all stocks were going to go up. What else did I do? What did I do next? I put a money maker out there, didn't I? My early target on the S&P was 68.90. The S&P right now is 68.85. I think that's pretty good at 5 o'clock in the morning to have that kind of target. That might make you some money on SPX or other things. What else did I say? I put out what Wall Street's saying. I always like to see what Wall Street's saying, and you can go through that. I'm not going to go through the details, the value of that, but it tells me, you know, how Wall Street's going to think, okay? Notice it says the Santa Claus rally is likely. Y'all see that? Guess what? It's here. I told you 2 days ago it started, but that's just it. All right, that's the last thing I do every morning, right? Now, I said yesterday, if you join TNT, it's $200 a month, best $200 you ever spend. But I also said if you join right now, I won't start your subscription until January 1st. You're too nervous, Jennifer. You got to follow what I say. No way you should have lost money. You know, you got to learn. That's what the class is going to be about. You got to learn. There's a blind man taking that information I gave this morning would have been able to make money. And that's not, you know, that's just the truth. Don't trade until you learn and ask questions, because you should have made a fortune today with the information I put out there. Okay. In fact, yesterday, you should have paid for your Christmas. You don't have to send me a love letter on that, but I'd appreciate it if you did. You know, Jennifer, you have the roadmap software? I'm curious about Jennifer, because I hate she lost. See, she had an Apple computer and you could run roadmap on it. I did it for years, but it's better to have a PC. Don't trade until you get the roadmap on your computer. Okay, Jennifer? You'll do a lot better. I just want to show y'all that before we got going into dividends. Now, I'm going to find another trade today, if that's okay with everybody. And I will do it right at the end. So you got to hang today. Don't leave. It's going to cost you money. Carol says, thanks for paying for Christmas. He's going to have a good one. All right, so I got another trade I'm going to do today. Mark, you can, every trade I put out there, you need about $100. So don't hand me that, Mark, it's too big. You don't know what, you can do every trade I give with $100. You start out at $100. You're making an excuse to yourself because you got a small account. I got small accounts. They used to be small. They're big because they listen. Shoba says, I've got a small account and it works great. You just got to go small. Well, maybe you're spending too much money on Christmas. You ought to invest in yourself. That's what I would do. Anyway, that's just a thought. But Merry Christmas to you anyway. Anyway, I don't like excuses. You know I don't. And this is not a democracy. I mean, I got to tell you what, you know, with my 40 years experience, I got to give you straight talk. And because I got to get you making money. That's my goal. Okay. And I don't mean to insult anybody. I'm just going to tell you, I want you to win. And you'll win if you listen. If you don't listen, you're going to lose. That's my opinion. Because I met with a lot of traders over my lifespan doing this, and I've seen a lot of excuses. Anybody can come up with an excuse. I used to come up with one about every hour. You know, it's a tough game. It really is. And I mean that sincerely. It's a tough game. But we play it at a level that allows you to learn and get experience, okay? And that's just it. My desktop, type your name in there where I can congratulate you and copy what my desktop said. That's so nice, what he just said. Frank, look what, capture what, Frank? He started with 12,000. Look at his account now. Frank's from California. That's great, Frank. You need to send me a love letter on, you know, Started small, and now I'm traded a lot bigger. $8,000. Whoa, Frank, listen. He bought a lot of my stuff, I can tell you that. Isn't that great? All right, today it's about dividends. And dividends, the title of it is Pay Yourself. Okay? So let's go to our slides. I'm going to come back and find a trade after we finish everything. But put the link in there if they want that special offer I made, if you don't mind, on the TNT, where they can buy it for $200, and the subscription won't start until January. Okay? Gives everybody hope with small accounts when you see Frank, doesn't it? Past form is not indicative of future results. In my opinion, we're going to win, we're going to lose, but overall, we're going to educate ourselves to get better at this game of trading. That's our goal. We're going to be happy every day when we show up, happy when we go home. That's our goal. Monday, Friday, I do this for free right here in Think or Trade. And, you know, I was telling Adam that unless the growth doesn't come, and I'm not very happy with the number of people in here doing this every day. I'll just tell you, I'm not very happy because this thing should be, you know, we have doubled the people in here, and I don't get it. We process all trades in here in T-Buzz Talk and Trade. There's the link. Get signed up on that special we're running. You can have it. All right, let's look at this. Dividends. The title is How to Pay Yourself. Today, we're going to understand dividends, key terms you got that's related to dividends, and some summary and insights. Understanding dividends. Dividends are payments a company makes to its shareholders, usually in cash, it can be in stock, as a way of sharing the profits for a well-run business. You know, think of it like owning a rental property. The rent you receive is the dividend. The house value changing equals stock price. Key terms related to dividend. Most important date for investors: if you buy, own, or after you do not get the dividend. The importance of that date is called ex-dividend date. Write that down. You must own the stock before the date to receive the dividend. If it goes X, you don't get it. The date the company checks its shareholder list, usually one business day after the ex-dividend date. It's the record date. That's the record date. Let me stop. When do you need to buy stock to receive the dividend? Before the ex-dividend date. X means without, okay? You gotta remember that. So you gotta know that date. I know it gets confusing sometimes, but we're trying to simplify it. When do you get paid? The day the dividend hits your account. Some people pay daily, some people pay weekly, some people pay monthly, some people pay quarterly, some people pay yearly. Some people don't pay at all. Buffett doesn't pay a dividend. He thinks it's a bad strategy. If you're short a position, you're going to have to pay, they're going to debit your account. So what does it mean? The dividend cash paid to you. The yield is based on the price you pay. The ex-dividend date, you got to buy before that date. The payment date's when you get paid. The payout ratio is a percentage of earnings paid. Dividend growth shows your annual increases on dividend. A DRIP program lets you auto invest your dividends. And the yield trap, high yield equals warning sign. So if you got a real high yield, that's a warning sign traditionally. However, there's ways to manage that, and we'll talk about that in a second. Any questions about what I covered? Test question. When do you have to own the stock and get paid that dividend? Everybody type it in there and make sure you got that down. You got to know that. 4X deal. That's right. Okay. So here's some key insights. Dollar amount. Think in terms of a dollar amount. Let me give you an example. Say you put 10,000 into a stock and you receive over the course of a year on that 10,000, you receive $1,000. What would be your dividend that year on that stock? You got $1,000 and you had 10,000. I would say find a dollar amount to put in anything. That's the way I would do it. Because the dollar amount is important. Now let's say that you got $1,000 in dividend and the stock now, your 10,000 is worth 8. Was that a good deal to be in that one? That's why I like dollar amounts. 10,000 in, it's worth more than 10,000. That's called account appreciation plus your dividend, right? That's what you want to try to have, or your goal or to be. Think in terms of dollar amount, the bigger picture in terms of end of year return. If you have 10,000 invested after a year, how much income will you have made? You take the dividend, add it to your investment of 10,000, and then look at the value to see if you got any dividend at all. A lot of people say, hey, I got 3,000 in dividends, but the stock dropped 4,000. That wasn't a good deal. End of year return, 1 year. Utilities have historically been my favorite dividend vehicles. Most utility stocks will pay a dividend somewhere around 3 to 5%. The majority will also pay out on a quarterly basis. Let me give you my best dividend utility stock of all time. Y'all want to hear what it is? It's XLU. XLU. That's my favorite dividend stock of all time. Gives me diversification in the utility sector, but it's a great place to grow money. XLU, and I'll show you why in a little bit, okay? You can also take the quarterly payers and find those that allow you to create your own monthly income cycle with utilities, like different dates. A typical pay cycle A would be January, April, July, and October. Another one, group of utilities might pay February, May, August, and November. And cycle C might play March, June, September, and December. So you got money every month coming in that way, right? Okay. That's a dividend ladder, I call it, a dividend ladder. That's a smart way to do things. Favorite utility stocks: Southern Company, Duke, American Electric Power, NE, and XLU. That's some stock examples. Check the YouTube page for today's recording. At the end, go to the live. I think today you know a little bit more about dividends. Now, here's what I want to do. Let's go live right now, and I want you to bring XLU up and tell me where it opened the year at. XLU.
Hey, Tom, XLU opened the year at 38.12. What the roadmap has?
All right, and where's it currently trading?
I got it 43.22.
Okay, it's at 43?
Yep.
Okay, showing how much your capital appreciated using $10,000 on that rate.
Yeah, just on capital appreciation. Let's see. Let me bring up a calculator here.
And then, and I would use 4% for the dividends, just average you got paid. We'll see how XLU turned out to be a great dividend play this year.
Yeah, I forget the exact payment of it. You said $10,000?
Yeah, you put 10,000 in XLU.
So capital appreciation alone, 10,000 has gone up to about $11,335.
And add another 4%.
Let's see. I'll just type it out. Nothing exact here, but
Nothing exact.
504, so 11,788.
So what's the total dollars XLU paid you for putting 10,000 in there?
About 18%. Nothing to sneeze at there.
Did y'all hear me, folks? This is a definite keeper in your portfolio, XLU. Okay. Now, there's a couple websites that I've got introduced by Carol to. One's called YieldMax. The other one is called Roundhill. But the same structure applies. If you put 10,000 in a YieldMax stock, hold it for a year, then you got to look at the value plus how much dividends you got. Okay. The same analysis, no matter if you're getting weekly payouts or what, would tell you was it a good deal or not. Okay. Everybody understand that? The basic formula is level investment, was it worth 12 months later, and what is your dividend you got during that time period? You got to do that. 2 parts to it. Everybody understand that? Because minimum, if you want it to be worth what you started with in your account, or if you add the 2 together, you want it to be worth more than that, right? Everybody understand what I'm saying? The basic formula is dollar amount in, was it worth 12 months later, number one, and how much dividend that I've received in the time, okay? I want you to learn that because I think it will help you going into 2026. Okay, so you give me some feedback. Does this help you understand dividends a little bit better in the approach? Notice the approach I like is set up your payout date diversified, no matter whatever you go. And dividends, oil companies, oil, they call it something, I forgot to slip my brain, but oil pays good dividend. It's not going to pay a good dividend if the value of the oil corpus goes down. And right now I would invest in that because oil is headed down to 45. That's the example. Real estate might be a good dividend play going into 2026. Data centers might be. Yeah, pipelines are good. MLP. Junior says, after a year of receiving dividends, my minimum is, if I put 10,000 in, it pays a 4% dividend. My minimum would be that 4%. Everybody, yeah, munis are tax free, right? Now you also can trade options with dividends by selling covered calls. REITs that specialize in data centers might be an up and coming one. Go to look at. What I'm trying to do today is get your mind expanded my desktop. What's your name? I got to know who you are. You're making such nice comments. Hey, Mark. Nice comments. Thank you. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Got any more slides? Didn't Adam say that he wanted me to cap yesterday? Mention that again. Let's review a few programs we have at DTI. That's what we're doing, okay? Roadmap software. Don't trade without it. American Express stole my line. Don't leave home without it. I'm changing it. Don't trade without the roadmap software. I prove it day in, day out to have the track record we have. You got to have the roadmap. Okay. Minimum investment, I would say that you got to have in risk capital. I'd stay in the education mode if I had less than $2,000 that I could put in there. If you got 2,000, that's the minimum dollar amount that you ought to have to start trading, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But the roadmap software is something that you got to have. All right. T-Buzz Talk and Trade. I proved today I could do this every day, but I get tired of covering it. Well, everybody ought to be a member of T-Buzz Talk and Trade. Everybody I run into face-to-face. Tom, T-Buzz Talk and Trade. Great. Now, Weekend Profits Club is one of my programs that I love. That's my last trade of the week. I'll do that by the end of the day today. So you ought to join if you're interested in that one. Very simple. You put the trade on at the end of the day. How many people have confidence after what they saw yesterday that this is going to be a good thing to be a member of? Look, if I tell you something like this, you really ought to do it. Next. The Genesis algo, that's where we are right now. We just started the Genesis reading. We've been rallying all day. I gave you some odds yesterday. There's more that I'll give you in a master class, but generally speaking, 4 out of 5 days, the market will sort of top out during this time period and correct. When it doesn't correct, that's when you have a big day. For example, let me give you an example. Everybody look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's at 179.92. If NVIDIA goes higher after Genesis, there's a play in NVIDIA later on today. It's a great algorithm that comes out and spits out all the key stuff that happens. The anchor trade. I'm in love with this anchor trade. This is an automatic execution. Let me tell you about it though. The upside is it's very accurate. It happens about 1 every 5 days. The upside is if you watch my master class, which I'm going to do today at 12:30, if you're a member of Anchor, I'm going to go through it again. I'll show you how to milk this thing for 3 trades a week. Anybody interested in that in Anchor to learn how? Have the same odds, just using a little advanced technique or two? I'm going to show people today at 12:30, so you got to show if you're part of Anchor. Today's deal, the roadmap's on sale today for $497 for a year. Genesis is on sale today for 15 months, $897. Weekend Profits Club's on sale today for $897. Anchor Trades on sale today, VIP's $890. And T-Buzz Talk and Trade, like I said, you get the rest of December free, and you kick off January with me on TNT. You'll pay for it by then if you listen. Know how to walk around a trade room, you'll know how to do it. So here's what we're going to do. Let's take what I'd like to do is play the anchor trade. Let people hear that. But what I'd like to do first, give everybody about a 10-minute break to get signed up for these deals. Let's do a $10 deal. Now, what I will do before we shut down this room, I will come in here and do a trade for everybody that sticks around. We'll do that trade after Anchor finishes play. Okay? That'll be the plan. And then after Anchor finishes playing, we'll be going over to the Anchor room. Yeah, Kevin, if you're existing members, great question. He said, can I use these even though I'm an existing member? Yes. A lot of people do that, Kevin, when I do stuff like this. They'll say, hey, I'm going to stock up. You're welcome to do it. I'll be back when we kick off anchor. I got a few things to say. Maybe I'll have the trade before, but I doubt it. I'm going to try to wait after we finish the tape.